Hi guys, it's Mrs. Joyce-Martin, and I'm going to start Chapter 5, Harry Potter, Diagon Alley from the Sorcerer's Stone, and I'm going to read for about 12 minutes and then we'll stop and I'll make a Part 2 if I don't finish Part 1. Okay, so here we go. Harry woke early the next morning. Although he could tell it was daylight, he kept his eyes shut tight. It was a dream, he told himself firmly. I dreamed a giant called Hagrid came to me telling me I was going to school for wizards. When I open my eyes, I will be at home in my cupboard. There was suddenly a loud tapping noise. There's Aunt Petunia knocking on the door, Harry thought, his heart sinking, but he still didn't open his eyes. It had been such a good dream. Tap, tap, tap. All right, Harry mumbled. I'm getting up. He sat up, and Hagrid's heavy coat fell off of him. The hut was full of sunlight, and the storm was over. Hagrid himself was sleeping on the collapsed sofa, and there was an owl rapping its claw on the window, a newspaper held in its beak. Harry scrambled to his feet, so happy he felt as though a large balloon was swelling inside him. He went straight to the window and jerked it open. The owl swooped in and dropped the newspaper on top of Hagrid, who didn't wake up. The owl then fluttered onto the floor and began to attack Hagrid's coat. Don't do that. Harry tried to wave the owl away, but it snapped its beak fiercely at him and carried on the savage coat. Hagrid, said Harry loudly, there's an owl. Pay him. Hagrid grunted on the sofa. What? He wants paying for delivering the paper. Look in the pockets. Hagrid's coat seemed to be made of nothing but pocket. Bunches of keys, slug repellent, balls of string, mint humbugs, tea bags. Finally, Harry pulled a handful of strange-looking coins. Give him 5 newts, Harry, Hagrid said sleepily. Newts, the little bronze ones. Harry counted out 5 little bronze coins, and the owl held out its legs so he could put the money in a small leather pouch tied to it. Then it flew off through the open window. Hagrid yawned loudly and sat up and stretched. Best be off, Harry. Lots to do today. Got to get up to London and buy all your stuff for school. Harry was turning over the wizard coins and looking at them. He had just thought of something which made him feel as though a happy balloon inside him had gotten a puncture. Hagrid, said Hagrid, who was pulling on huge boots. I haven't got any money. And you heard Uncle Vernon last night. He won't pay for me to go and learn magic. Don't worry about that, said Hagrid, standing up and scratching his head. Do you think your parents didn't leave you anything? But if their house was destroyed, they didn't keep their gold in their house. Boy, nah, first stop for us is Gringotts, Wizard Bank. Have a sausage. They're not bad cold, and I wouldn't say no to you biting your birthday cake either. Wizards have banks, just the one, Gringotts, run by goblins. Harry dropped a bit of sausage he was holding. Goblins? Yeah, so you be mad to rob them. I tell you, never mess with goblins, Harry. Gringotts is the safest place. Okay, let me get to the next page. World for anything you want to keep safe except maybe Hogwarts. As a matter of fact, I gotta visit Gringotts anyway for Dumbledore. Hogwarts business. Hagrid drew himself up proudly. He usually gets me to do important stuff for him. Fetching, getting things from Gringotts. He knows he can trust me, see? Got everything? Come on, then. Harry followed Hagrid out of the rock onto the rock. The sky was quite clear now, and the sea gleamed in the sunlight. The boat Uncle Vernon had hired was still there with a lot of water in the bottom after the storm. How did you get here? Harry asked, looking around for another boat. Flew, said Hagrid. Flew? Yeah, well, we'll go back this way. Not supposed to use magic now that I got you. They settled into the boat, and Harry still staring at Hagrid, trying to imagine him flying. Seems a shame to row, though. said Hagrid, giving Harry another one of his sideways look. "If I were to speed things up, would you mind not mentioning it to Hogwarts?" "Of course not," said Harry, eager to see more magic. Hagrid pulled out the pink umbrella again and tapped it twice on the side of the boat, and they sped off towards land. "Why would you be mad to try and rob Gringotts?" asked Harry. "Spells, enchantments," said Hagrid, unfolding his newspaper as he spoke. "They say there's dangerous dragons guarding high-security vaults, and then you got your way. Gringotts is hundreds of miles under London, see, deep under the ground. You'd be dying of hunger trying to get out, if you did manage to get out somehow." Harry sat and thought about it for a while, and Hagrid read the paper, the Daily Prophet. Harry had learned from Uncle Vernon that people liked to be left alone while they did this, but it was very difficult. He'd never had so many questions in his life. "The Ministry of Magic is messing things up, as usual," Hagrid muttered, turning the page. "There's a Ministry of Magic?" Harry asked before he could stop himself. "Of course," said Hagrid. "They wanted Dumbledore for minister, of course, but he'd never leave Hogwarts, so old Cornelius—" Okay, let me pause this page. "Got the job. Bungler if ever so one, so he pelts Dumbledore with owls every morning asking for advice. But what does the Ministry of Magic do? Well, their main job is to keep the muggles, that is, still witches and wizards, up in the country. Why, blimey, Harry, everyone be wanting magic solutions to their problems. Nah, we're best left alone." At the moment, the boat bumped gently into the harbor wall. Hagrid folded up his newspaper, and they clambered up the stone steps onto the street. Passers-by stared a lot at Hagrid as they walked through the little town to the station. Harry couldn't blame them. Not only was Hagrid twice as tall as anyone else, but he kept pointing at perfectly ordinary things like parking meters and saying out loud, "See that, Harry? Things these muggles dream up, eh?" "Hagrid," said Harry, panting a bit as he tried to keep up, "did you say there are dragons at Gringotts?" "Well, so that they say, Hagrid." "Crikey, I'd like a dragon." "You'd like one?" "Wanted one ever since I was a kid. Here we go." They had reached the station. There was a train to London in 5 minutes' time. Hagrid, who didn't understand Muggle money, as he called it, gave notes to Harry so he could buy the tickets. People stared more than ever on the train. Hagrid took up 2 seats and sat knitting that looked like a canary yellow circus tent. "You got your letter, Harry?" he asked as he counted the stitches. Harry took the parchment envelope out of his pocket. "Good," said Hagrid. "There's a list of everything you need." Harry unfolded a second piece of paper he hadn't noticed the night before and read, "Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Uniform. First-year students require 3 sets of plain work robes, black, 1 pointed hat, black for day wear, 1 pair of protective gloves, dragon hide or similar, 1 winter cloak, black, silver fastenings. Please note all pupils' clothes should carry name tags. Set of books. All students should have a copy of each of the following: the Standard Book of Spells, Grade 1 by Miranda Goshawk, The History of Magic by Bathilda Bagshot, Magical Theory by Ada Berth Waffling, A Beginner's Guide to Transformation by Emmerich Switch, 1000 Magical Herbs and Fungi by Philodora Spore, Magical Drafts and Potions by Arsenius Jigger, Fantastical Beasts and Where to Find Them by Newt Salamander, The Dark Forces, A Guide to Self-Protection by Quentin Trimble. Other equipment: a wand, a cauldron, pewter, standard size 2, 1 glass or crystal phials, a telescope, 1 set of brass scales. Students may also bring an owl, a cat, or a toad. Parents are reminded that first years are not allowed their own broomsticks. "Can we buy all this in London?" Harry wondered out loud. "If you know where to go." Harry had never been to London before. Although Hagrid seemed to know where he was going, he was obviously not used to getting there in an ordinary way. He got stuck in the ticket barrier on the Underground and... Okay, I gotta pause. Okay, so I'm going to pause right here and start part 2. All right? And this is where we left off.